But let's get into the list of countries. So we're going to start first with Costa Rica. And again, this is in alphabetical order. Let's get into Costa Rica. So Costa Rica, when it comes to the cost of healthcare as compared to the US, we're looking at 50 to 70% less expensive than the US. How much does the average adult in Costa Rica spend on healthcare in Costa Rica? Anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. So that's an average per year. Average healthcare costs for adults in the US, just keep remembering this number, it's between $10,000 and $15,000 every year. That's the average across the board. Let's look at the cost of an MRI. So if you needed to get an MRI in the beautiful country of Costa Rica, anywhere from $250 to $500 US. And 500 is the high end. Oh, did I say it's MRIs compared to the US is 50 to 70% cheaper in Costa Rica? And if you're looking at a root canal, it's anywhere between 70 and 80% cheaper, with a standard cost of anywhere between $300 and $600. And anyone who's got quoted for a root canal knows that you're starting in the thousands for a root canal here in the US. And the average cost of giving birth is 70% cheaper in Costa Rica, anywhere between $4,000 and $7,000. This is a very popular destination for dental and cosmetic surgery. So if you're looking at Costa Rica for dental and cosmetic, there are tons of resources. They even have brokers that help you plan from A to Z, but you do need to have a valid passport with a tourist visa with up to 90 days on that visa. So next up is India. Now, many people don't think about India as a destination for medical tourism. 80 to 90% discount off of what it would cost here in the US on average. And if you're looking at the average cost of healthcare for adults in India for the year, between $200 and $600. Between $200 and $600. Like that is just amazing. And like I said, compare that to the US where it's $10,000 to $15,000 per year on average. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense that we were not put up on game. And when I say we, I mean me, put up on game from a little child. When you're talking about getting an MRI in India, the cost of an MRI is between $100 and $250. Let me repeat that. It's between $100 and $250. It's even cheaper than Costa Rica. So that's 80 to 90% cheaper than MRI in the US. A root canal is 80 to 90% cheaper. We're looking at anywhere between $150 to $400 in total, out of pocket. And that's how come some people say when they travel and they have to go to the, doctor, they don't even try to go through their insurance. It's like they'll just pay out of pocket because it's so inexpensive compared to the US. And now if we're looking at giving birth, then it's anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000 US, which is still 80 to 90% cheaper. And this is a regular birth. We're not talking triplets and C-section and, all of that. And so when it comes to restrictions, once again, there's no major restrictions for medical tourists in India. Valid passports. And then for some procedures, you may need a medical visa. If it's a surgery that is pre-planned, then you may need a specific, depending on the type of surgery. If it's a major surgery, they want you to have a medical visa for those types of surgeries. Next is Korea. And do me a favor if you're watching, because I always forget to do this, but it's important to make sure this video gets out to more people. If you could go ahead and like this video, please just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, just hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And this helps to the algorithm, be like, oh, let me push it out to more people and more people get this free information. So back to Korea. Korea is 30 to 40% less expensive. Now, that may not not sound like a lot compared to, me just talking about India, but 30 to 40% off when you're talking thousands of dollars is still a lot of money. If you're talking about the annual cost that for healthcare that the average person pays in Korea, it's only 2 to 4,000. Compared again to the 10 to 15,000 in the US. If you're looking at the standard cost for an MRI, it's anywhere between 500 to 800 US dollars. Still quite affordable compared to the United States. If you're looking at a root canal, it gets a little bit more costly. It's anywhere between $600 to $1,000 out of pocket. But again, it's still heavily discounted. And then if you're looking at childbirth, it's between 5,000 and 8,000, which is usually about 50% cheaper. So what are the restrictions? Strict regulations on the types of procedures eligible for insurance reimbursement. But again, it's even if you have to pay out of pocket, we're talking 50% less in some instances, 40% less than others. And the requirements are just a valid passport and a short stay visa up to 90 days. That's it. Next up is Malaysia. Now, Malaysia is a beautiful metropolitan, well, let's say Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia is a beautiful metropolitan city. Now, I will say, once again, similar to Korea, it's not the cheapest. We talked about 80 to 90% off, but it's still 50 to 70% less expensive than the US and a great place to, visit. If we're talking about what the average adult in Kuala Lumpur or in Malaysia spends on medical healthcare, it's anywhere from 500 to 2,000 per year. Comparing that once again to the 10,000 to 15,000 per year, it's still a fraction of the cost. A MRI, it's anywhere between 200 to 400 US dollars for an MRI. Now, if you're looking at a root canal, it's anywhere from 300 to 600 US dollars. And the root canal is 70 to 80% less. And then the same with giving birth, it's about 70% cheaper, coming in at $3,000 to $6,000. And what are the restrictions? Some procedures may require referral letters from local doctors. But as far as entry, just a valid passport, no special visa required for medical tourists. Now, let's talk about Mexico real quick. We've been talking about Mexico a lot. And then after Mexico, we only have 2 more to go. Mexico is a very popular place for people to get medical tourism done. And it's because they have so many cities within the country that offer great quality healthcare. So Mexico is 40 to 60% less expensive overall than the United States. The average person spends anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 per year on healthcare. Again, comparing that to the US, where it's $10,000 to $15,000 per year, tremendous savings. MRIs are anywhere between 300 to 600 USD, which is 40 to 60% cheaper. If you're looking at Mexico to go and get some type of imaging and testing, just make sure that the interpretation of the results come with it. Because I did hear that some people didn't realize it was an extra. You pay one place for the actual testing, but then there's another place that actually does the result. $300 to $600 for the MRI. For a root canal, it's anywhere from 300 to 700 USD, which is 60 to 70% cheaper. And then for giving birth, it's $4,000 to $6,000. And so what are the restrictions for Mexico? Few restrictions, but some states require pre-approval for certain surgeries. Just do your research if it's something more serious. Okay, so what are the requirements for entry? Just a valid passport, no visa required for stays under 180 days in most instances. So Thailand is the next to last one that we're going to review. And when it comes to actual cost, we're looking at 70% to 80% discount. The average cost of healthcare per year for adults in Thailand is between $500 and $200 USD. Comparing that to the US, which is 10 to 15,000. If you're looking for MRI, it's 70 to 80% cheaper. Rate prices ranging between 200 and 500 USD. If you're looking for a root canal, it's 70 to 80% cheaper, 250 to 500 USD. And giving birth is anywhere between 3,000 and 6,000, 70 to 80% cheaper. What is required? Some clinics may not offer advanced medical procedures due to limited insurance coverage. But when it comes to entry requirements, you just need a valid passport with the standard tourist visa. But if it's a major surgery, then you may need a medical visa. And then finally, it's Turkey. So Turkey is known, very well known, for their medical tourism. If you're looking at the MRIs, 200 to 400 USD, which is 60 to 80% less. If you're looking for a root canal, it's $300 to $600, which is 60 to 80% cheaper. And if you're looking at giving birth, then it is $3,500 to $6,500, which is about average is 70% cheaper. You just need a valid passport and a medical visa if you're staying over 90 days. If you don't need to stay over 90 days, then you just need a valid passport. And there's no major restrictions, but pre-surgery evaluations may be required.